Welcome to the Short Funk Podcast. I'm Tom Bartley. I had a question from Mike Kennefick, who has reintroduced himself in photographic form to me through Facebook. Mike dropped off associated with Model Rail radio listenership. I wasn't sure what had happened to him. I went through a period of time where if I hadn't communicated with people for about 2 years, I removed them from Facebook. Mike unfortunately fell into that. I didn't, I guess, realize how much Mike was still a participant in my stuff, or at least a listener in my stuff. It's wonderful to see photos of Mike appearing on Facebook with other Model Rail radio folk. Mike asks, associated with Musak in stores, the impact that I find associated with Musak in stores. Mike is a musician, as Andy Dixon is. He's part of a group of folk that I collectively think of as the benefits of living in the UK. Once you perform music, once you actually compose music, once you have an intimate interaction with music, your ability to deal with music changes fundamentally. I talked about on Stone Ape going and seeing Bolero performed by a group of student musicians and professional musicians, roughly 50-50, and them really stuffing up the performance of Bolero, making it almost an improvisational jazz piece. And the offense that I took to that really fundamentally. And if it was an indication of like real professional musicianship, like they were actual jazz performers, I might have been more sympathetic to it. These were just people that couldn't hold a tune, couldn't hold beat, couldn't do a variety of things. Oh my goodness. You can't imagine the number of hours that I practiced for performances just as a child. And the general fear. I once did a performance, just a solo with a piano. I was a violin, where because of the way I think of music, I played the introduction in a different key. And we had to restart the performance. But it was perfect, but it was just in the wrong key. And I sort of came to it thinking so much about the performance that I forgot what key it was in, and I just performed it as if in a different key. When you have this kind of intimate interaction with music, when you're obsessed with it, the role that Musak plays can be really, really, really offensive. I think this is what Mike is getting to in his question. My view is, look, I just brace myself when I get to a shopping mall. I don't have any view that this is in any way a natural form. I just try to get myself there and get out, which is what Mike is identifying. My wife loves malls. I've gone to malls historically based on my wife's love of them. It caused me a really great degree of emotional trauma when I lived in the UK. One of the reasons that I have so much Games Workshop stuff is I just used to throw myself into Games Workshop. I mean, I've had times in Games Workshop where I have had red eyes from literally like crying based on the pain of being in a mall. And it was funny, actually, when we went back to the mall in Manchester, I had all these repressed anxiety things associated with just walking into this mall again. Musak is a part of that. It's not the only part of it. It's part of it. Yeah, I don't know what to say about Musak. I think it might be, I mean, Mike asserted in his question that this was some degree of like selective view that we were not the right kind of people to be in malls anyway, and we just needed to get out. I think it's just stupidity. Once you deal with bureaucratic organizations in any form, you realize that the lowest common denominator tends to make the decisions there. I think if people realized how painful it was, like on a fundamental level, people who ran malls or in positions of power, we wouldn't be dealing with Musak anymore. I think this is a cultural thing. I think it's lost on people that make the choices associated with what is played in these environments. But yeah, if I never set foot in a mall ever again, I don't know, I might set foot in a mall in Australia. I don't know. The whole thing is very curious to me. I've got a few days in Sydney with my mother. There are some malls in Sydney I actually want to go back to. My friend was a manager of a Games Workshop in a mall in Sydney. It's a particularly horrible mall, but just going back to that Games Workshop might be cathartic to me. I don't know. Plenty of better game stores in Sydney. Anyway, I don't know, Mike Kennefick, Musak, the whole holiday thing. I've got another short funk to deal with that. So I'll cover that then. Tom Bartley in San Jose, signing out.